Hey guys, so welcome back to today's video. In today's episode, what I want to do is take you through my strict lunge series. So this kind of stems from that sort of mentality of mastering the basics, and you can never be too good at them. And when it comes to lower body movements, right, what we're looking to do, and I preach about this a lot, is you want to first provide stability before you worry about producing force, because you can't fire a cannon from a canoe. And if you're unstable upon ground contact, your body's going to find it very hard to be able to produce as much force as possible. So the strict walking lunge is something that I use. I use this as an assessment to assess an individual's stability, how much they have, how much their spatial awareness they have. And also it's just a nice warm-up tool, or even, I mean, I do this loaded as a movement as well. So just to sort of define strict, I want to come to the top of the movement and maintain this position. Now, if I'm doing a dumbbell walking lunge, it's here. You know, we come down and then the back leg drives up and we maintain that stability. Okay, so I like this as a warm-up exercise before we get into our main lifts. Again, these are the little sort of details of exercise that it's very easy to gloss over, because we look at a body weight type movement and we think it's easy and it's far better to do a weighted movement, but it's understanding that it's how we marry them all together. Okay, a jazz musician will always be practicing their scales. For an athlete, these types of things are your scales, okay? Put them into your warm-up, master them. Become so efficient that you could do 100 reps with no wobble, no unbalance, and then we can progress through, and you'll feel the effects of how your body feels when you do that. Also, from another perspective, what I like to sort of get people to think about is, when it comes to training, yes, we want to get strong. Yes, we want to look better, feel better, but understand that we want to improve our quality of life and reduce our risk of injury, right? So when we're coming in, the way I get people to think about this is, as we stand here, as I stand here, I want to be in complete control of 1 meter radius. Okay, so if someone accidentally bumps into me from the back, I know exactly where to put my foot so that I can control my landing. Likewise, from the rear, I know exactly where to put. Outside, I know where to put. Anyone that's done lateral lunges or reverse lunges know that there's, you know, we can overstride, we can understride. And the same thing happens if I get pushed out to the side and I don't know where to put this leg, and I step out too far and that load comes down through here. I mean, you can see from the video that that's not going to be a great position to land in. And likewise, if I understep and I end up falling over to the side, that is a potential injury, right? So what we're looking to do is just, I could have my eyes shut, I know exactly where to put that foot. Again, if we're playing sport and we need to do a cut, I need to know exactly where to strike the ground to push me in the opposite direction. And I think these lunges are the very basic level of that, the very entry level of that, okay? Now, when it comes to this, what I found is these shoes are awful for doing this, right? Which is eye-opening when you look at these as, you know, what we all want to run in, the carbon-plated soles. But when we're training this, I like to do it barefoot to really train the foot to produce stability, okay? Because understanding that stability isn't just quads, it isn't just calves, it's the coordination of foot, ankle, calf, tibialis anterior, quads, hamstrings, glutes, all working together to be able to hold me in this position, all right? And what we're looking for at the end state of this is that there shouldn't be any oscillation of the foot. My knee shouldn't be wobbling or anything going like that. Again, the longer I hold this, the fatigue will creep in and all of a sudden it becomes a bit more challenging. Okay, so what I like to do is do this over sort of 10 meters. So I've got my other trainers sort of marked out here, and I'm going to run you through how I like to do this drill. Now, if you can do it moving, great. I think anything that you can do moving is more beneficial, because we are locomotive creatures. We move across the face of the earth. But if you're in a gym or you're at home or whatever, and you can do this static, okay? So I'll show you both options. So we're going to start with the strict walking lunge. Another thing that I like to bring into this, right, is the arms. Because again, when we're trying to be athletic, upper body and lower body coordination is vitally important for force production, for jumping, for landing, right? Arms and legs need to be in perfect synchronization to be able to produce force, okay? We don't want to be fighting ourselves, okay? We don't want to be driving with the handbrake on, okay? So start to ingrain the opposite arm kind of action, okay? So to give you a visual of what the forward walking lunge looks like, I always start where I want to finish, okay? Knee up, toe up, I'm showing the sole of my foot to the floor, opposite hand up. So we're going head to hip, okay? It's kind of generally how I think about it. Again, be stable. In this position, you want to be as tall as you can possibly be, right? So this glute's engaged. The higher I lift this knee, the harder that glute has to contract, okay? If I lift this knee too high and that glute's weak, that happens, okay? I sink. my knee pushes forward. So the knee comes back, quads engage, hips engage. You'll feel that right at the top of the hamstring glute complex to hold that position. Now, it's important that that's the position that we're trying to train. Okay, the lunge at body weight for most of you should be really easy. Okay, the position that's going to be really challenging is to maintain that tall, high position with your leg extended and your opposite knee up and sole of the foot to the floor. So don't gloss over that part of the movement, right? Actually earn the right to take the next step. So what that's going to look like, if I start here, I'm going to step, I switch arms as I switch knees, and I hold. Earn the right to take the next step. Heel to toe action on the landing, up. Okay, and you can start to challenge this with speed because it becomes harder to control things when you're moving quicker. And what we should kind of get to, and again, you get a couple of wobbles in this, right? You're learning. You know, even myself, I've been doing this for years. I'm pretty stable, but the occasional rep, I misstep, I lose my balance a little bit, and that's what we're trying to refine. Okay, if I made you do 100 steps of this, and you was only 80% consistent, well, I want you to get that up to 90%, 100%, right? I want you perfect at these movements, okay? Because then when you're running and you're striking the ground, you know those positions, you've been familiar with them, okay? So you know where to get to, you're strong and stable there because you've trained it, and your likelihood of falling victim to that fatigue, challenging that position is going to be slightly less, okay? So the forward walking lunges I just sort of demonstrated there. I like to do this reverse. Now, the reverse walking lunge is very challenging. If you're going to do this stationary, just the standard reverse lunge here is a bit easier, but the walking lunge requires a lot more coordination, okay? Because again, it changes things when you can't see where you're going, okay? So here, we start there, we reverse lunge. Now in this position, I'm going to push with my right leg, but then pull my right knee up, okay? And try and roll back onto that left foot. I lunge back, I push and pull. And again, you're learning how hard to push. Yeah, so sometimes some reps you'll under push and you'll have to take that second step. Other reps you might over push and have to fall backwards. So this is all about learning to control the volume knob of intensity. How hard? Learning to control your body weight through space. Vitally important. Again, I think it's one of the most important things of training is to master your body. You know, it's not how much weight we can lift. That comes after. Master your body weight first, perfect how you move on the face of the earth, and then add load and add strength on top of that, right? Because I've met so many people that can squat 200 kilos, 250 kilos, 300 kilos, but they can't stand on one leg for 10 seconds. So I ask you, are they strong? Okay, in the context of a squat, yes. In the context of being a human being, maybe not. Okay, so never neglect the importance of how we move. Okay, because ultimately I believe that that is the better you move, the less likely you are of getting injured. Okay, so reverse lunge, I'm here, push up, control, stabilize, earn the right to take the next step, push back, oh, that was crap. And again, you'll find that you have one leg that you're better at, and what you're trying to do over time is just sort of balance that out a little bit, and that comes through practice. You know, the reality is that this is a skill, just like everything else when it comes to the human body, everything's a skill. So you just need to practice it. And when you practice it, you'll get better at it. You won't even have to try, because the more you visit this movement, the more you visit this challenge, the better you'll get at it, okay? Some days you'll be rubbish. Maybe you had a few drinks at the weekend. Other days you'll be great. It's just understanding that it's like we're trying to refine that and we're trying to become more consistent. Okay, the next one I like is the lateral lunge. So again, teaching us where do we put that foot outside of our center of mass to be able to control and push our weight back. So standing leg stays locked out straight the whole time. I don't want to see this left knee, in my case, left knee bend. The right leg's doing all the work. So I sit back and then I push back to that start position. Again, learn to control how hard you need to push. Find that balance. The key thing, one massive thing that I see people do on this foot when they do a lateral lunge, never let that happen. Okay, already in that position, my load is all going through here. That position there, I've anchored it over. Okay, even when you're doing your stretches, you're doing that adductor stretch you might see in my warm-up. Keep the ankle flat on the floor, the foot flat on the floor. Okay, never let that toe come up, because you're just ingraining poor movement patterns. If you get comfortable and stretch in that position, where do you think you're going to go to in this position? Okay, so foot flat on the floor, push back up. Bang, good. Same on the other side. Come up and then push. And again, earn the right to take the next step. You should be able to hold that top position and go on my command if I was to play that game. Okay, and then the last one is the walk it. Well, again, walking or static hip hinge. I like walking because it gets us more coordinated. So again, start and finish here. From here, we're going to hinge back into a single leg RDL or hip hinge, and I drive up. And I put the foot down, other leg comes up, hinge and reach, get a good stretch on that left hamstring, pull that right knee up. Pull that right knee up. And that is my strict lunge series. Again, can be done statically. The forward lunge, you can kind of come into there. Reverse lunge, obviously a bit more sort of stepping back. Lateral, and then the single leg hip hinge. Again, the main focus of this is to promote this position. You'll see that when I come into my sprint drills, A skips, B skips, dribble runs. It's all about providing distal athleticism. So from the shoulder and the hip, distal athleticism and proximal stability. Okay, we need our trunk to be stable so that I can strike the ground and project myself forward, okay? If I have a weakness through here and I'm soft and I'm not stable in my midsection, every time I strike the ground, I'm gonna dissipate that force through my midsection. I'm not gonna move as quickly or efficiently. Our goal is to become more powerful, more efficient, and less likely to get hurt. And I believe that if you were to put this strict lunge series, just one set, 10 reps of each, and do it every time you go to the gym or every time you train, again, you do that 5-6 times a week, you know, in 30 days, in 365 days, how much better at this could you be? How much more stable could you be? And how much carryover could that have to the field or just to life? So strict walking lunge, something that I love to use with everyone, whether it's from an assessment point of view on their stability, or just using it just as a skill practice to get you better at moving your body through space. So hopefully you found this useful. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.